Hello YouTube, Talkin here, and for this video, I want to talk about my experience in the April 2018 KC Cup first stage. Basically, I'm just going to be giving my impressions on this part of the event, and then just talk about some of the decks I've seen so far. Now, I made a video for this for the last KC Cup first stage, and so I don't really have a format or any way to kind of do the video, but the point for this video is to relay my experience and see if anyone else has had a similar experiences or even seen any kind of cool decks or anything. That's kind of just the point for this video, just to start a discussion, in other words. Before I start, I should probably mention that the deck I used throughout the entire event was Ancient Gear, or rather 3 different versions of Ancient Gear decks. But for this video, I'm not showing them off. I kind of think they're crap, but if anyone's interested, I might make a separate video, but again, that's not the point of this video. The point is just for me to talk about the event, and honestly, comparing this event to the last one, I can't say that I've had as much fun, to be honest. The thing I really liked about the last KC Cup, which was, I guess, not really, kind of my first one that I took seriously, but the thing I liked about the last KC Cup was the amount of diversity I saw. Yeah, the popular decks were there. There were still Gladiator Beasts, there were still Dinos, there was still Temple Burn, but then I saw random stuff like Relinquish and Ninja Beatdown, and just a lot of really fun decks to play against. But for this KC Cup, the most popular decks I saw were either Sylvan or a different variation on Sylvan. And that's kind of it. I really wanted to list 3, and I can probably list top 3, but it was basically different variations on Sylvan, which it kind of sucks when every deck's kind of the same thing. You kind of know what to expect. You kind of, when you see the card setups and what's here and what's there, you know what's coming, and if you can stop it, that's good for you for the turn, but you might not be able to stop it next turn, and then, but if you don't stop it, you're just going to get straight demolished. So, it's kind of it's very despair-inducing, I guess. That's a good way of putting it, but overall, I think the major skill I saw with Sylvans was Restart, but I do have to admit, I did see I did see one Beatdown and one Ties the Bind for Sylvans, and I think I saw a Mind Scan Sylvan, too, but it was majority Sylvans. I don't want to say there was a second deck that was as popular as I saw, but there were definitely other decks I saw, which, like I said, it didn't make the event as fun. It made it actually kind of irritating at times, because I wanted to level up, and then suddenly the Sylvan player, and then I just lost. And then I wanted to level up again, and then I just lost 2 more times Sylvans, and then I went down a level, and I went very much up and down with this level. I wasn't just straight up. It was constantly, I went up, and then I kind of just went back down, which, something I did like about this event was they started, I started off at level 10 because I was in Platinum last time around for the regular dueling, but I can't talk, wow. So, I guess I missed a lot of the low-tier cool decks, if that makes any sense, but, I do like the fact that I was still able to get the reward for it, so I'm a little divided on that. I mean, I guess less dueling is better, but in this case, I had to duel more than I usually did, just again, for that level jumping around, which was very much of a pain, and very much a headache at times. But overall, some of the other decks I saw was, I think the second popular one was Alien, which Ancient Gear and Aliens are, it's an okay matchup, but the only major issue is whenever they had any 2 aliens on the field with counters, while you had counters. Because the most annoying thing about aliens isn't so much that they can pop back row, isn't so much that they drop a bunch of counters. It's when they have 2 alien monsters on the field with that alien counter condition effect on them, and that just starts stacking, to where 2 counters isn't just minus 600 attack, it's 2 counters equals minus 1200 attack, or 4 counters instead of being just 1200, it's 4 counters equaling 2400 attack, which, for a lot of, I was running a lot of low attack at first, Ancient Gears at first, so it basically just, they drop 4, I have 0 attack white monster, which I kind of lost. But otherwise, if they didn't have 2 aliens on the field, I was able to run them over, or 2 aliens on the field and no counters, I didn't have as much of a problem. But after aliens, I think the third popular was Aroma, but I never really had too much of a problem with Aroma. There was one instance where they had the best setup, where they had Rose Lover, they had double WaterGirl, they had the perfect setup, and they beat me down. There was one game I meant to losing to Aroma, but in every other case for Aroma, I didn't have as much of a problem, because a lot of their setups were still very slow. They had opening hands of a normal summon Jasmine, activate Aroma Garden, draw an extra card, set 2, pass, or something like that. But or they just set Rose Lover, but otherwise very slow starts. And at that point, it was just kind of dealing with WaterGirl. Like WaterGirl was the WaterGirl. I don't know. I don't know what the card's actual name is. I'm just gonna be calling it WaterGirl. But basically, so they summon WaterGirl, switch to defense mode, run over it. Summon WaterGirl, Super Rush Headlong, get over it. Summon WaterGirl, just Wall Disruption or Mirror Wall, just WaterGirl. Like they never really had Begomat or the Fire one, but just. But there was one game I do feel sorry for the guy that he had 2 Jasmines on the field. He just kept Aroma Garden just keep drawing, and he had WaterGirl at 23, and I was actually losing in that game just because they had the back row to counter a lot of what I was doing. But I managed to summon a beast with Castle in the field, so it was 23. So I crashed it with his WaterGirl, and both which caused Garden for him to gain 1,000, and then the gain of 1,000 caused both the Jasmines to draw 1 card, and then he started his next turn. But the 2 Jasmines that mandatorily drew a card caused him to deck out, and then I won. Like I did feel sorry for the guy at that point, but that one I was very back and forth. And then if I had to get a 4th unofficial deck, I would say Burn. Like I did see some Burn players, but it was either Weevil with Parasite Infestation or it was Yami Yugi with Destiny Draw. And I want to say I won about half of them, but I didn't see that many. I want to say about maybe 6, I think. It's still annoying every time they came up, but it all just varied whether or not I could either beat them down fast enough or lock their back row down. Just kind of annoying. Other decks I saw in no particular order. There was Fortress Whale and there was some fish, which the one time I saw Fortress Whale, I ironically had Divine Wrath ready. So he tribute 2 monsters, and then Fortress Whale just died in the hand. As for fish, I want to say I faced about 2 or 3 fish decks, but that varied between just if I could econ take the flying fish and then run over it next turn, and whether or not he had another flying fish determined whether or not I really just won that game or not. I did lose some flying fish though. I will admit to that. Out of nowhere, the second time I got to level 17, for some reason every game after that was Sphinx Beatdown, which was annoying because I was trying a different variation of my Ancient Gear deck at the time. But it was every single deck was summon Pion, summon 2 Sphinx from the deck, Sphinx Mill Monster Revive, Beatdown for 900, just which in that matchup is mostly just if I could Pulse Mine them in defense mode and then run over their monsters in the early. But otherwise, for the third Ancient Gear deck, I never faced them. But it was just that at that one moment, every deck was just Sphinx Beatdown, and it was kind of annoying. But again, it was just a little bit of a perseverance. But then there was this one deck, Dragon Beatdown Grass Looks Greener, 30-card Dragon deck that they activate Grass Looks Greener, mill 10 dragons, banish a bunch of dragons, summon big dragons, just beat down. That was a very intimidating deck. That came up about 2 or 3 times, but it was always Kaiba whenever it came up. I thought it was kind of cool. Just big dragons. I don't know if there is an official deck, official name for that, but I do have to admit that was kind of cool. Dark Worlds came up about 3 times. 2 of them were Taya Dual Standby, and then one of them was, I think one of them was Merrick right back at you, I think? No. It was Fiend Farewell. But otherwise, one of the Dark World decks was 3 Lithium, basically ran 3/3 of the regular combo in Duel Links, but otherwise, I faced randomly 2 Counter Fairies, which wasn't really Counter Fairy. They never really got the field spell off. Either they activated and I just popped it, or they couldn't draw it into time, and then I locked out their back row. But I did see Counter Fairy. Just they weren't really playing Counter Fairy though. And then of course I did see 1 or 2 games of Cyber Angel, but I ironically won both games of Cyber Angel I played, and I did see Gladiator Beast. I did see some of the more popular decks from last season, but ironically, I I lost one Gladiator Beast game, and I won one game of Gladiator Beast game. Ironically, this game right here, the second to last for my level up, was actually Gladiator Beast, but fortunately I was able to Divine Wrath and then Floodgate, whatever just came out. Like, I got really lucky for that game. Like I said, overall, it was primarily Sylvans. If there's any way to hit Sylvan, I think many people might arguably say Kuroshima or Rose Lover, but I am actually more looking at Marshall Leaf. Like, Marshall Leaf was mainly a lot of irritated me a lot more in situations because I attack Kuroshima, he mills off whatever. If it's Marshall Leaf, he popped the one monster I had that killed the Marshall Leaf, so it's countered, and then I had no board. And then he used Rose Lover to summon a new monster, or maybe Carrot Weight, like one carrot, like limiting carrot weight. Like, I think most decks either run two or three carrot weights, but I don't know, maybe limiting carrot weight would be fun. In any case, these are just, again, my thoughts on the event. Did you have a similar experience, or did you have an easier time or a harder time? And what deck did you use? Or what decks have you seen or faced against? Just let me know in the comments, and, well, have a good day.